Been a while since I roasted ComicBookCast2's chestnuts on our open fire. And with 14 videos in the chamber, all downloaded from a YouTube downloader because I'm not giving them a view because that's all they seem to care about, I'm ready to react to some ComicBookCast2 videos. A lot of them. Too many of them, actually. Also, I won't be reading their comments because apparently there's a site called Hadzi where you can just plug in their link to the video and you can just get their comments. I'm not going to be doing all that. But yes, let us dive into this rabbit hole of stupid.
It looks like Sony has officially found its director for its next, I guess, standalone / MCU adjacent project, which by all accounts is going to be Spider-Woman. It looks like Olivia Wilder is going to direct.
It's Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, that's the one.
He's not related to Van Wilder. Well, I hope not, anyway.
I hope not. So yeah, what do we think?
I think it's cool. It's someone decent for a change, unlike what Sony's usually getting.
Yeah.
This is going to sound a bit nitpicky, but I do want to know their frame of reference for why they think Olivia Wilde is going to be a good director. Now, me personally, I can't make heads or tails of whether or not she is going to be good or not because I don't know her previous work. I know she's already been a director. She worked on something in 2011 called Free Hugs. 2019 and 2020, there was 2 movies called Booksmart and Wake Up. And she was supposed to work on another movie, but that got halted because of COVID. So I don't know. I guess there's 3 movies she's worked on so far, and I guess the Spider-Woman thing, or assuming the Spider-Woman coming up along the way. So I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of whether or not she's going to be good or not. But that's important, by the way, because I like to know who's their prior work before jumping into their movie. Example, someone said Peyton Reed was going to direct a movie. I can expect mediocre or terrible because I've seen his work before. The Bring It On and Ant-Man were mediocre. The Breakup and Yes Man were terrible. And if your defense to me is, well, look at the Mandalorian episodes he directed, you're barking up the wrong tree with that one. I didn't think Mandalorian was that good. But, and don't even talk about the Luke Skywalker episode. I'm like, I didn't think it was that good either. I'm not going to just clap because Luke Skywalker's on screen and not, tossing lightsabers over his head and trying to kill his family members in their sleep like a fucking lunatic. You're barking up the wrong tree with that one. If someone told me Peyton Reed was directing something, I expect mediocre or terrible because that's all he gives. Ant-Man being as mediocre as it was is why I didn't end up watching Ant-Man and the Wasp. So now if someone were to tell me, hey, Edgar Wright's working on something. Hey, Edgar Wright's directing an episode of The Mandalorian or something, or he's directing something else, I can expect quality from him because I've seen nothing but quality from him. The Cornetto trilogy, the entire Spaced series, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Baby Driver, which was my least favorite, but, it wasn't bad. I don't think it was bad. But consistent quality from this guy, right? Ironically, I bring that up because, he worked on Ant-Man before Peyton Reed got brought on. I still found that disrespectful as hell. Like, that's like, could you imagine if you had a movie with, like, someone like the Coen brothers or Nolan or Scorsese or fucking Tarantino, and they get replaced by like fucking Uwe Boll or Michael Bay or some shit? I'm like, what? The fucking disrespect on these motherfuckers, But anyway, I got, if someone told me either one of those people were to direct something, I have prior work as reference as to why I think they'll be good or bad. It sounds like, from the sounds of it, Armin and Mitch don't even realize that she's already a director, and their reason for why they think she's going to be good is that it's an okay choice is because, oh, she's a good actor. It's like, it's a good choice. This is a nice choice. I'm like, based on what though? You clearly don't know her prior work. You are just, I think I know why they're saying it, and that Strawmen you're going to pull in a few minutes kind of confirms why I think they are okay with this and why they're saying this is a good choice. But I don't want to assume. I would still like to know the frame of reference besides the acting, because that is a very dumb reason. I mean, fucking, oh, he's a good actor. Like, okay, doesn't mean he's a good director. I mean, directing and acting. I mean, I don't believe I have to explain this. I likely have to when it comes to these two. But directing and acting are 2 completely different things. So whatever. I just thought that was a strange little thing I picked up on when I was watching this.
So with Spider-Woman, I think this is a good matchup. Like, you know, Olivia, she's acted. She's been moving to directing. There's obviously something there that they got a woman to direct a female-driven comic book film, which is good. I've already seen people being like, why can't they just hire the best director? It's like, oh, you mean why can't they just hire a dude?
Ah, boy, here we go.
Why don't you just rephrase that for me? Why don't you just do that?
So just admit it. Just come out a minute. Don't try and hide it because it's so transparent. Just admit it. Just say you want to do, you don't want a woman to do it. Right?
Or, and this is gonna blow your limey tits off more than the time that you dangled your own keys in front of your face. People just want the best person for the job. You can't just straw man people to you. And I noticed this shit happened a lot last year in 2020, where people will straw man you to their side. You know, where it's like if you don't agree with this or what I'm saying, then you're this now. And it's like, no, I'm not this. Well, then you agree with what I'm saying. Like, no, I don't agree with what you're saying. So then you're this. It becomes this cycle of fucking stupid. The way I see it, if you can't make your case without strawmanning the other side like that, it tells me you don't believe what you're saying as genuinely as you want everyone else to believe. You want people to believe you genuinely believe this thing, but you really don't if you have to straw man the other side and make the other side look bad because they disagree with what you're saying or they have a different take on that. And think of all the fucking minorities who say this shit. And I say minorities. I don't like saying people of color because, you know, it reminds me of that fucking video I saw about wokes and racists agreeing with each other.
We both have a lot of opinions about people of color, even though we barely know any.
I say colored people, but as long as we're classifying them.
But I would love to know what they would say about the minorities or women who have the same sentiment and want the best person for the job, right? And don't hire solely for skin color. I would love to know how they would react to that.
Anthony Mackie has been critical of Marvel in the last week. Now, he talks about Marvel, but he's also talking about sort of Hollywood in general. And he's calling out, you know, for lack of diversity. And, you know, I made a video talking about how I agree with it. Because if you look at it, there clearly is a lack. And he brings up a few good points. Like, so you're telling me that the most diverse movie we can get is Black Panther, but then none of these people that worked on that, which was mostly African Americans, can go and work on any other movie? Why? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost as if Disney's just doing that to pander, as a lot of us has been saying. But we've been called all sorts of isms and phobic for bringing it up. And now even some of you are admitting that Disney does things to pander. Fuck, like, y'all are doomed, man. Although I am curious, like, you worked on how many MCU films? Here, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. Still doing Falcon and Winter Soldier. You did the Ant-Man, I forgot about that. 6 movies. You haven't seen a whole bunch of black folk, you know, on the set? I don't know. I'm not saying he's lying, this is kind of strange.
No, I agree with him 100%. They need to start. I know people are going to be like, well, just get the best person for the job. But it's like, well, that doesn't exist. That never has.
Yeah, exactly. We know that hasn't existed, and the thing is, like, I proved a good point, and there were some people in the comments that were like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And I'm just like, so wait, we all went into Captain America the Winter Soldier going, comedy directors, they can't possibly be the best choice. And then we saw the movie, and we're like, oh my god, they should direct the Avengers. So why is nobody on their shortlist for who should direct the next Avengers movie putting Ryan Coogler and that crew on there?
Again, I ask, what is your frame of reference for that? You say it doesn't exist. Now, if you were to say that doesn't always happen in some cases, I could agree with that. That isn't always the case where they pick the best person for the job. They just pick whoever. That's true, but you say it doesn't exist at all. You're pretty much saying that doesn't exist. That's never happened. What is your reference for that never happening? You say the Russos. Okay, Russos, clearly they saw something in the Russos that they thought they could direct a good Captain America movie. They've done 2 good Captain America movies and 1 good Avengers movie. I mean, someday people will just admit to themselves Endgame wasn't that good and it's overrated as shit. But anyway, I didn't even know the Russos were comedy directors until after I saw Winter Soldier. Clearly, they were the best person for the job. Since they directed 3 consecutive good movies. 3 good ones. And 1 average one at best. But still, if you're going to choose a director for a movie, it should be based on their prior work. Like, again, if you said that this isn't always the case, this whole thing about choosing the best person for the job isn't always the case, I would say, yeah, okay, you got a point. It's not always the case. Again, my reference again is Peyton Reed. Again, people like Uwe Boll who still gets work. You know, Michael Bay who still gets work. They're shit directors and they still get work. So it's like it's not always the case, but to say it's never happened or it doesn't exist, that's just blatantly false. Not to mention the Russos weren't chosen based on their skin color. Or their gender. It wasn't like Feige was like, I want the next Captain America movie to be directed by straight white men only. Like, why is that? Well, okay, we may get a good movie out of that, but why is that your qualifier? First of all, that would be career suicide on his part if he ever did that. But why is that the qualifier? Just like, what are you doing? And also, you're worried about what people have on their short list for Avengers directors. That's their short list. You can't pick their short list for them. You know? That's what's going on right now with the Fantastic Four fan casting. Everyone's upset that you're not casting people of color. Like well, that's their choice. That's their fan cast. You can't choose that for them. Like, there's a reason it's called fan cast. They're a fan casting people who they would want to see in a movie or direct a movie or as a character. You can't choose that for them, okay? Like, just stop. And he says why Ryan Coogler wasn't on anyone's list. I wasn't even a fan of Black Panther. Let's just be for real. I mean, it wasn't that good. But it was made for you. I don't care. Stop saying it was made for me, please. First of all, that whole it's not made for you thing, that's stupid in itself, okay? Movies are made for everyone. There are movies that are targeted towards certain groups, for sure. But stop with this, it wasn't made for you nonsense. And between people saying that with Black Panther and then Brie Larson with fucking Wrinkle in Time, give us good shit, please. Give us good movies to, like, you get Wrinkle in Time. I felt so disrespected. Like, you gave us this wonky ass acid trip of a movie. I still don't know what the hell happened in that movie. Of all films, I'd have taken anything over that. I would have taken Black Panther over that. But as far as that movie goes, Black Panther, I was not a fan of it. And I don't blame Ryan Coogler entirely for that. I blame mainly, I don't know, maybe he was the writer of that and Creed. And I love Creed. Creed was a great movie. It was him and someone named Aaron Covington, I think it was. Or out of something like that. And there was another guy called Joe Robert Cole who helped him write Black Panther. I mean, Creed was good, Black Panther wasn't. I'm going to assume Joe Robert Cole was the weak link in that one. Because unless Ryan Coogler just fucked up and Joe Robert Cole was like, yeah, I got some good shit. Okay, we're going to kill Claw like that? Oh, that's why we're killing him? To give him this weird-ass like reason for going to Wakanda, even though he has the means of getting there without Claw? Okay, fuck it. But yeah, like I said, a few bad movies ain't gonna stop me from wanting to see other projects. I mean, but if the frame of reference for why he should be doing Avengers is Black Panther, I'm like, you do better than that? You can do better than that. Oh, okay, Creed, good. That's better. That's much better.
So I agree with everything he said. Most people seem to have, honestly. I've seen some hatred against it, but I'm like, but if you're disagreeing with them, you're wrong. Like,
I was gonna say it's one of those where it's like if you like sit here and go, oh, just get the best person for the job. It shouldn't matter what the color of your skin is. It's like, yes, that's all well and good, but essentially what you're saying right there is that people of color aren't talented enough currently to get those gigs.
How the fuck we get here?
right.
So,
Yeah.
what side of the fence you really want to be on?
Exactly.
I'm gonna ask this for black folks in attendance. Are y'all tired of these woke white saviors doing shit like this? Are y'all tired of that? I'm tired. I've been already tired of it. I've already been fed up with that shit. But everyone else, y'all tired of it too, right? Okay. I just want to make sure. Because this is what I was talking about before. Strawmanning people to their side. How do you go from picking the best person for the job to clearly you don't think minorities can do this work? Stop that shit. Stop that. Like I said, I'm sick to death of these woke white saviors. I am really tired of it. And then they'll find out. More and more black folks start jumping on their ass. They'll stop. We're fighting for you. That's nice. Sit down and shut up. Be quiet.
A actor from the old X-Men movies isn't excited for the MCU version. Okay. Like, what do you want me to say? I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, he's wrong. He has an opinion. What do you want? Alexandra Shipp, who's playing Storm for the next 2 months, I guess, up until she's given a boot, doesn't think that Storm should have anything to do with Black Panther. Nobody cares.
Armin is sus. Vote him out. He thinks a white man's opinion is what matters, but a black woman's opinion don't matter. Vote him out. See, I can straw man too. I just choose not to do that to make my arguments. Then again, I mean, that is a little sus. Nah, vote him out.
Oh, hell no!
We know that the X-Men and the MCU version of the mutants is going to be refreshed and different. We know that's coming. Kevin Feige even said it. So they're going to be different iteration, probably more comic accurate, which honestly is going to be great. At the same time, as he says, why can't we just go out there, create new franchises and new characters in the MCU? And again, they've tried, but people are not accepting. How many people have you seen out there hating the idea of Miss Marvel, or a female Hawkeye, or somebody else taking on the mantle of another character, or new characters like the Inhumans, or new characters like Guardians of the Galaxy before they became a household name, or Ant-Man? People are always like, well, we want something new. You give them something new, it's not what they wanted. And we're seeing that again from the, vocal fan bases of Captain America and Iron Man. Well, we wanted Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans to stay forever, but we also want them to evolve as characters and grow, but also stay the same, right? Like, you can't have everything.
Armin, new does not equal good. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's good, okay? If I were to staple your dick to your ball sack and nail those to your taint, that's new. It's new. Why are you complaining? Why are you screaming? Why are you... It's new. Shut up and like it. It's not the same thing. New and good are not... You have new and good, but it doesn't mean it's going to be good by default because it's new. That's just stupid. That's stupid thinking.
People wanted Star Wars to not be safe, and then they got an unsafe movie and they hated it and they wanted it to be their fan fiction. Then they got their fan fiction and hated it because it was safe. So I don't know. Don't listen to fans and just do whatever you want. That's really the takeaway. Unless the fans are actually being supportive and kind, then you should probably listen to them. But, whatever.
People not liking The Force Awakens had nothing to do with it being safe. It had more to do with it being A New Hope 2.0. That's what the problem was. It had nothing to do with it being a safe movie. There's a lot of safe movies out there, but this one was just the same film from 30, 40 years ago? That's the problem people had. TLJ was new and it was unsafe, but it was bad. Okay? There's tons of movies that aren't safe. Infinity War is like the one movie that kills this entire bullshit argument you're trying to pull out. People didn't like it because it wasn't safe. They didn't like TLJ because it wasn't safe. Infinity War, the very next year, wasn't safe, and people loved that movie. It's a fucking good movie. They took some risks, and it was good. Taking risks doesn't mean it's going to be a good movie. Okay? That's part of the word risk. Risk is you may get something good out of it, or it may turn to shit. That's the risk. Just because you take a risk doesn't mean it's going to be a good thing entirely, in general. Okay? I can't. And Rise of Skywalker, that was just plain shit. Even the most hardcore TLJ defenders, which I found hilarious, by the way, were even saying it was shit. Like I said, I found it hilarious. Like, oh, this is the bad one. Okay. Wasn't the other two. Wasn't the other ones. It's this one. This is the one that was the shitty one. Okay. That's nice. I hate the fan fiction argument. It wasn't the fan fiction in your head. What? Why like any movie ever? Again, Infinity War kills this argument. There's a lot of ways that people thought that movie was going to go. It subverted some expectations. And guess what? People loved it. It wasn't divisive. It wasn't hated. It wasn't, people weren't making stupid arguments to defend the movie. Fucking, like, it was loved. People loved it. It's almost like it was a good movie. Holy shit, imagine that. Imagine making a good movie. That seems like a fucking rarity these days. And again, why like any movie ever if that's the reason people hated TLJ? Because it wasn't the fan fiction. Stop that shit. Every time people use that argument, I just assume they know it's bad, but they can't admit it to themselves, so they gotta use little stupid shit like that to. That right there is up there with the no one hates Star Wars for the Star Wars fans statement. The statement that people think is so deep and smart, but it's really stupid. It is an incredibly stupid statement. Yes, Star Wars fans who love the OT, love the Clone Wars, for the most part love the Mandalorian, loved Rogue One, loved a lot of the Star Wars shit that's come out before and since Disney, they hate Star Wars clearly because they don't like the original trilogy and how it was handled. Of course. Fucking hell, you people are stupid. Then again, I've always said that Rian Johnson's fans and Snyder fans are like one and the same at this point. Both have made some pretentious shit movies and convinced their fan base that they're smarter than they are. Wow, this is so deep and smart. It's like, it's not. Stop. At least I can say Zack Snyder has fun with his shit. With his dog shit movies, except for like BVS and Man of Steel. Those are the only two I can reference that are like, these are just boring slogs. What the fuck? Why? How do you make Superman a boring movie? How do you make a Batman versus Superman movie boring? How the fuck do you do that? You know, at least he has, but aside from that, at least he has fun with his movies, with his shitty movies. Rian Johnson's movies are just kind of pretentious, where he's like, I don't think he's aware. I mean, I don't think Snyder's aware his movies are terrible either. So I'm sure he's heard it enough to be aware, but I'm just gonna assume he is. I'm gonna assume he is. But Rian Johnson's with that. It's like that. He's not self-aware enough to realize. No, you're making some terrible movies, my guy. What about Knives Out? That's not helping your argument. It got nominated for an Oscar. It's nice. That don't mean shit to me. This isn't that Armin shit where I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter, but now it matters because a movie I like is gonna get nominated. No. This genuinely doesn't mean shit to me. The Oscars doesn't mean shit to me for. Oh boy. And of course, don't listen to the negative fans. Only listen to the positive fans, the ones who like your shit. Don't listen to the ones that tell you that are telling you this is not good. Because just push forward until you burn that bitch to the ground. And now you see exactly the kind of logic that leads him to make the same fucking content daily and convincing people that it's good. You see the exact logic behind that. There you go.
I sort of think he's, I don't know, like, look, it's The Boys, right? He's trying to be different. He's trying to do the edgy thing because The Boys are edgy. They're an edgy take on superheroes. He makes fun of Snyder all the time. He's making fun of the MCU here or there. Ha ha ha, look at what I'm doing. Fine, whatever, okay? But I think his kind of statement is wrong. It's like, how is enjoying these movies bad and dangerous to an entire generation of kids? Because nowhere am I seeing it other than maybe the Spider-Man movies where somebody had to come in and save him. And even then and there, Peter Parker moved past that and he does it on his own. I almost feel like, you know, it's another guy who has hit this new ceiling in his career where people are finally talking about him more than previously. So his next step is to do what everybody else does, and that's, what's the most popular thing? MCU? I got it. I gotta talk crap about him so people can get me to, resonate again, right? Again, we see this time and time again. I don't care.
That creators takes aside, which is just completely stupid on so many levels. The one thing that Armin didn't want to bring up is because he's too stupid when it comes to politics. It's not just politics, but the one thing he didn't bring up is that he said that Marvel, the MCU helped Trump win the 2016 election. I'm like, ow? How did you come to that conclusion there, my guy? But that aside, can we stop this bullshit of we have to defend this poor, helpless, innocent, multi-billion-dollar juggernaut? Armin has to realize, and he's done this before, where it's no matter what the argument is, no matter if it's good, if it makes sense, or if it's just, I'm not a fan, he has this tendency to go full fanboy mode and be like, just hating. They hate it because it's popular. Or they just don't like it, what is the fucking problem? Granted, again, this guy's bad take aside, this is levels of stupid I didn't think anyone could reach other than Armin, but somehow this guy managed it. But, but you've done this before with people who just say they don't like the MCU. Do we have to go down the list? Scorsese, Jennifer Aniston, what was the other one? Was it fucking James Cameron? Who, by the way, just said he didn't like the Avengers movies. I don't know if he meant the MCU as a whole or that, but he wasn't a fan. You can't go ape shit every time people don't like these precious movies of yours. Just because you'll clap at anything they put out doesn't mean everyone else has to. I know it's shocking. It is shocking that this is a thing that has to be said to you, but that's the way life is.
If you are a giant fan of Thor and you just cannot handle the fact that Jane Foster will be called Thor, great news for you. She will not be called Thor or Lady Thor, because Marvel's gotta let you know she's better than Thor. So she's gonna be called Mighty Thor. People are upset at this one now. Yes. Remember when they announced Thor Love and Thunder, and then Jane Foster herself, Natalie Portman, walked out on stage and picked up the hammer, and they confirmed that she would be Thor? Right then and there, people were already outraged because they said she would in fact be Thor. Her name was Thor, and she's going to play Thor. A lot of people got upset, naturally, because how can this be? There's Thor Odin's son, and there's Jane Foster. So recently, due to all the, it's not recent, let's be real, there's been backlash ever since she was announced. Anyways, people were like, how can you be Thor? So she wanted to clarify this, so she did. So Natalie Portman said, and I quote, "So, she does have powers. It's not exactly the same as Thor, it's her own version of it. And she's called the Mighty Thor." See? It's not the same Thor. She's not taking his name. She's gonna be the Mighty Thor. Yes, the backlash because they call her mighty. Yes, fragile. So let me get this straight. First, there was backlash because she was gonna be called Thor. And then people wanted that changed. So Natalie Portman confirms they're changing what she's going to be called. She's going to be called the Mighty Thor, and she's a different version with different powers. And now people are upset that they put the prefix of mighty in front of her name because this makes Thor just plain Thor. It's his goddamn name. What do you want him to be called? Do you want her to be called Girl Thor? Jane Thor? Thunder Girl?
Words cannot begin to express the sheer magnitude of the L that Armin just took with this. The Mighty Thor. They just added another. It's the same fucking name. They added another word to it. Are you stupid? Do you think your fan base? Do you think everyone else other than your fan base is stupid? We know. We know that there's no difference. It's just add another name to it. That's like me going to you going, "You're not Armin. You're the incredibly fucking idiotic Armin." It's the same name. It's literally the same name with words added to it. Are you fucking insane? And of all the names you couldn't think of, as you were coming up with these stupid ass joke names, Thunderstrike didn't cross your fucking mind. Apparently, Thunderstrike is now confirmed to be in the movie, but we didn't know that at the time, and you didn't know that at the time this was uploaded. So, did that not cross your fucking mind? Something? Anything else? Are we that just void of fucking imagination that we can go, there's surely another name we can come up for this character other than just Thor or Mighty Thor. We can come up with something else, right? Jesus. Jesus. I can't believe you fucking... Oh. I got some words for this fan base before this is all over.
And Thor is called Original Thor, not female, girly type. Thor with a dangle, manly Thor. This whole clubhouse of no girls allowed in the MCU has really, boy, it's really gotten out of hand, huh?
Here comes the straw man of sexism. They don't want women in the MCU. You know, even though there was women in the MCU before Jane Foster and before Captain Marvel. But sure. And it's not like people are excited and pining for a Black Widow movie to come out. It's not like people have been wanting that movie since fucking 2010 for the last decade, and they're getting it now after fucking her character died at Endgame, even though that could have just been put in Captain Marvel's place since Captain Marvel was barely in fucking Endgame at all. But sure, it's just the sexism. I pity you fans of his. I have no respect for you fans of ComicBookCast2, but you have my pity.
Wasn't the backlash for Marvel Studios ever since they started was focus on the fact that they don't have many female characters in the MCU? I mean, I could have sworn this was the exact story when Wonder Woman was announced and they were releasing Wonder Woman is, haha, look at that, Marvel Studios will never catch up. And now that they're leaping and bounding way over them, now we just gotta be outraged at names.
I mean... This isn't 2016 anymore. This whole Marvel versus DC thing has been dead. It may be a few people out there doing this, but it's not enough for you to even complain about or bring up in this video. And also, this is something Armin, ComicBookCast2, a lot of people in general like to do these days, where they will take a statement from a group of people, or let's say take a group. One part of that group will say they like one thing, and it's okay. And another part of that group will say they don't like that thing. And ComicBookCast2, others will go, hey, that's not what you said before. It's like, I thought you liked this thing. It's like, no. That's different people with different takes. A whole group doesn't share. It's not a hive mind, okay? It's not a fucking hive mind where it's like one person thinks one thing and the other person thinks something else. That's not a contradiction. If an individual were to go, I like this thing and now they don't like this thing. That's not quite a contradiction because, someone's like or dislike of something can evolve over time, And number two, that's the individual. But saying that about the group, when you're taking two different takes from within a group, it's like, you can't do that. You're just strawmanning somebody. That's something that started these days, especially last year, 2020. It's gotta stop. I'm gonna need a part 2 for this, aren't I?